Hello, it's Whitney Lauritsen from EcoVeganGal.com, and welcome back to the EVG Venture channel, where I share my experiences and all the lessons I've learned through running an online brand, in the hopes that at the end of this video, you will feel inspired and have some new advice to develop your own online brand. Today's video is all about starting things now, not waiting, because oftentimes when we wait to do something, we regret that we waited so long. And many of us just feel frozen in our tracks, or we feel like we don't know what we're doing, and we come up with all of these different excuses not to do something. And then down the line, we think, why didn't we do this earlier? The reason I felt so inspired to do this video topic is because I feel this way all of the time. Perfect example is YouTube. I started on YouTube in late 2008, early 2009. Now that has been about 6, almost verging on 7 years now that I've been on this platform. It seems like a long time, but YouTube actually started almost 10 years ago from the day of this video. I think the very first YouTube video was on April 23rd, 2005. Imagine the progress I could have made had I started earlier. I see really successful YouTubers who attribute so much of their success to the fact that they were early adapters. They jumped on YouTube, they started making videos, and because there weren't that many people making videos at that time, they really stood out. They had all of this time to practice, to get exposure, and that builded and builded. And now it's very different in 2015 because so many more people are on YouTube, it's actually harder to stand out. And you have to do so much more work to get subscribers, so much more work to get exposure, and we're just in a completely different place. I also see this with podcasts. I recently launched my very first podcast called The Real Influencer Podcast with Kobe Kim. It's all about monetization strategies for online content creators like myself and you out there as well. If you haven't seen it, listen to it yet, check it out. I'll leave a link in the description field down below. And now I'm wondering, why did it take me so long to start a podcast? I've been listening to podcasts off and on for, I want to say, since 2005, 2006-ish. So again, almost 10 years. Why have I never started a podcast? And the reason I'm kicking myself here is because I see all these successful podcasters out there who are really monetizing their work because they built a big audience. And now I'm jumping in, and it's a lot harder for me because there are so many podcasters. The last place I would say this is like Instagram and Vine. I mean, if you didn't jump on board with those networks earlier on, it's so much harder for you. Or Facebook, Twitter, all of these different social media platforms. Now, the great news is well, okay, first let's start with the bad news. The bad news is we cannot jump in a time capsule. We can't go back to 2005 and join YouTube. We can't go back to years ago before anybody was really into Instagram and Pinterest and all these other places. But what we can do is become early adapters for the new platforms. And luckily, new platforms are starting all of the time. So I've been really encouraging people to get on Snapchat. Snapchat isn't new. Snapchat's been around for a few years. But for so long, it was viewed as just this personal thing that you would use. People would use it with their friends. It wasn't viewed as a social network, as a public network. But Snapchat is exploding right now. They're adding all of these features. People are getting on board there, but there still aren't that many people on this platform yet. There are still a lot of people who are hesitant, who don't know how to use it, who don't understand the value yet. So what I want you to do right now is to sign up for Snapchat and start using it. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, because I hear it a lot. Number one, it would be, well, I don't know how to use it. How do you solve that? Figure it out. Take the time. You can figure out Snapchat in a matter of minutes. You can find articles on it. You can find videos on it. Go figure it out, and you'll learn through doing. And that's true of all of these platforms. You learn just by jumping on there. If you've been hesitating to start a YouTube channel, just start one and figure it out as you go along. If you've been hesitating to start a podcast, well, I would say with a podcast, do a lot of research before you start it, because podcasts are very particular about quality. So I should kind of pause here to say that not all of these networks are places where you can learn by doing. Because sometimes when we learn by doing, if we're a little too sloppy with our learning experiences, we start to lose interest from our audience. But I think there's few cases of that. Most of these social networks are very forgiving, and people actually enjoy that authentic experience of learning along with you. Another great example is Periscope and Meerkat. These are new live streaming services that are connected to Twitter. And I really am into Periscope because what Periscope allows you to do is to live stream. You notify your Twitter audience, they come on board, plus you get all sorts of other people who aren't even following you on Twitter who just happen to enjoy watching live streams watching you. And then your live stream is recorded for people to watch later. Meerkat's very similar to that, except Meerkat's just live stream, at least as of this recording that I'm doing right now, and they don't allow you to watch later. So you can use one or the other or both. My point is that Meerkat and Periscope just came out in March 2015, and people just don't understand how they work yet. They don't understand the value, but the people that are on there and experimenting are standing out. They're the ones getting the audiences. They're the ones gaining all the experience. And so by the time everybody else jumps on board, they're going to be looking to the people that were the early adapters who jumped on board in the beginning. They're going to be looking to them as examples. They're going to be looking to them as the people that were there in the beginning, right? It's just a very special experience to kind of jump on board and be an early adapter. Now, what about those networks where you can no longer be an early adapter like YouTube? Well, like I said, we cannot go back in time, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't jump on board. Just because you're not an early adapter does not mean you cannot be successful. It just means you have to do it right now. Stop waiting. The longer you wait, the more people that are going to come on board, the more challenging it's going to be to stand out and get recognized. If you start right now, you can certainly capture those opportunities and really craft your skills there and start to stand out in your own way. So the last piece of advice I would leave for you here is to figure out what can make you unique. Figure out how you can stand out even in a crowd. There's always an opportunity. Perfect example, look outside at cars in a parking lot. Notice how the colored cars always stand out because there are so many gray, white, and black cars. So anytime there's a car that has a really unique, like bold green or blue, or there's a car that has a really unique design, those stand out. So how can you be one of those cars? How can you make yourself stand out even in a crowd? I think a lot of people think, well, there's too many people here, I'm never going to stand out. It's not true. When you are unique, when you are authentic, when you're yourself, people will be attracted to that and you will stand out in the end. So your homework is go join Snapchat, check out Periscope, and figure out where are those other platforms that you have been wanting to get on but hesitating. And what excuses are in your way? Is it that you feel overwhelmed and that you don't understand them? Well, if so, the easiest way is to take your time, do a little by little, and learn it. Stop using the fact that you don't understand it as an excuse. And if you have a fear of being in front of the camera or acting like a fool, you just have to work on your self-esteem and your confidence. And one of these days, you're going to get really good at it. The great news is you can always delete all of these things. You can delete YouTube videos, Instagram posts, Periscope feeds, whatever it may be. They're not permanent. They don't have to be if you don't want them to be. So you have this amazing opportunity to just play around, figure it out for yourself, and make it work. And trust me, you will thank me, because I wish I had somebody 10 years ago saying, get on YouTube now. I wish I had somebody 8 years ago saying the same thing. And I wish I had somebody saying to me long ago to start a podcast, so I could have been one of those early adopters. All right. Well, I can't wait to hear what you think of this video. So let me know in a comment below, where are you hesitating and why? How can I help support you to just move forward and stop making excuses and letting things get in your way? And do you have any examples of places where you've been an early adopter or where jumping on board something early has paid off for you and helped you stand out? And lastly, speaking of standing out, you can also leave me a comment to let me know, how do you stand out in a crowd? What do you do that's different? All right, before you go, I also have one quick announcement for you. I just started the Pick My Brain sessions up again. If you're unfamiliar with them, I do these online coaching sessions for online content creators like yourself to help build your brands. And these were really inspired by people that kept coming to me with questions and asking if they could pick my brain. So now I do them online in either one-on-one sessions or group sessions with between 2 to 5 people. And they are completely customized to what you want to learn and what schedule you have. I'm now going to be doing recordings so you can watch them whenever you want. They're a fantastic place to not only connect and learn from me, but you also get to connect with other people. In fact, some of my students that I started working with late in 2014 are now doing their own little masterminds together and collaborations. They've met through my sessions. It's been such a joy to be able to make that connection with them and to see all of the amazing things that they're doing together. I would love to have you there. So I've included a link to the Pick My Brain website. I just redid the website and now there are testimonials on there. It's got a nicer design and things are moving forward. So I would love to see you there before things change again, because when I first announced the Pick My Brain sessions, they were at a lower rate. But as things evolve, I have less time and I raise my rates. So get in now while my rates are where they're at. And while I have a lot of time to give to you, I would love to have you there. Thank you so much for watching these videos. I will see you next week with another one. I would love for you to check out the Real Influencer podcast. In the meantime, there are new episodes every single Wednesday. All right, see you next time on this channel. And until then, best of luck to you with your brand. I'm always rooting for you. Bye.